We so futuristic on this one.
Don't fade it on a track like this, cause the music makes me high. If I only got one more night, I'm gonna leave out loud goodbye.
This gonna be the type of...
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
Let the past die. Kill it. If you have to. That's the only way to become what you were meant to be.
What up, y'all? What up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Von, Mr. Von's channel, Sweatbox. We back, we live, we active here on the channel. Yes, indeed. And it's time to talk Star Wars. Everything spoilers. The Last Jedi. Talk it out, my nigga, is what we about to do. So, look, I went and seen this movie on Saturday. I went to the RPX, man. It was a great experience, man. I really enjoyed it. Even though I didn't have the best seats, I was kind of off to the side, but that was still a great experience. I mean, some of the visuals in this movie were just... And we'll get to that in a second. But let's get to start. Like I said, this is the spoiler field. So if you ain't seen the movie, why are you listening to... Why are you searching for spoiler reviews if you ain't seen the movie? You must not care. So I'm not even going to say it. It says in the title, spoilers. I've said it here, spoilers. We talking about it. Let's get into it. The movie starts off like this. It basically starts off right where Force Awakens pretty much left off. Pretty much, I mean, maybe a week, something like that. Rey's gone. That scene basically picks up when we first see Rey. But we'll get to that. The first opening battle sequence in this movie is awesome. And here's the thing, I was at a good audience. You know what I'm saying? They was very active. They was participating, you know what I'm saying? When the logos came up, they cheered, clapped. There was some good audience. So I was in a good audience. This, you know what I'm saying? Previously, because I've been going to a lot of the recliner theaters, and you know those are a lot smaller theaters. You maybe only get 50 people in one of those. Whereas I was over at a Regal, and they still got stadium seating. So there's over 100 people in that theater, and it was the RPX, the IMAX, their version of IMAX. So yeah. It was a great reaction, great crowd reaction, and I was glad to take part in that. I'm gonna have to do that again for Avengers when Avengers comes out. The RPX is definitely an experience. But the whole opening battle sequence of it was awesome. The opening scene with Poe. First of all, I gotta admit how much I love Poe as a character, and his story arc in this one was awesome. And I have seen a lot of other critics who, and we'll talk about that when we get to it, the dynamic between Poe's character and Admiral Holdo, played by Laura Dern. I love their dynamic in a certain way, because there's certain things that they say that even though we'll talk about it. So we'll get to that in a second. So the opening scene with Poe and BB-8, which is awesome, because I hear that everybody's saying there's no, just like every Star Wars film, no one says I've got a bad feeling about this, but it's been, I don't remember who confirmed it, because I've seen it multiple places now, but I've got a bad feeling about this. It's said by BB-8 in that opening scene with Poe Dameron in the X-Wing. So, boom, there you have it. I love how they sneak that in. The divide on this movie is just, I'm all over the place in this review because I got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to get sidetracked. But the divide on this movie is it's shocking to me. I've been listening to a lot of reviewers. I've been listening to Tyrone Magnus, you know that's my guy. I've been listening to John Campia. I've been listening to the cats over at Collider, Jeremy Johns, Schmoes. You know, and the Schmoes guys I got a lot of respect for, especially Mark Ellis and Harloff. Those dudes are, Harloff especially. Harloff is a huge Star Wars fan. So Harloff likes it, and those guys is just, I tend to listen to those guys more than I do some other people. But all those guys those are my core reviewers that I listen to. Jeremy Johns, Tyrone Magnus, Collider, John Campia, and the Schmoes. Those is my core ones. I kind of go out every once in a while to some other ones, but not like regular. But those is my absolutes. If I'm going to watch reviews, I'm going to always watch those guys because I respect those guys. And the only one who wasn't, and he didn't hate the movie, but the only one who wasn't crazy about it was my guy Tyrone Magnus. He liked it. He gave fair criticism. Tyrone always gives fair criticism. That's why I like him. He be going to war with the fanboys, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I went totally off track with that little rant. But let's get back to the what it do with the opening scene of this movie. Poe and BB-8 in the X-wing facing off against the First Order. As the First Order has tracked down what's left of the Resistance, as they're trying to escape. Yeah, it was a good scene. I love the scene with Poe. Hux is going through his General Hux shit, and I'm the man, and you guys are all gonna bow, yada 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 yada. Poe's like, y'all hold, that's cool. What's up? I'm waiting for Hux. I was like, can you hear me? It was awesome. It was awesome. Then he start getting on his mom's side. I was like, oh, Poe's killing him. Poe's killing him. So that was awesome. I loved all of that. And the whole and the entire scene itself was dope. The scene with the bombers, the dreadnought. I loved the captain, the First Order captain who was in charge of the dreadnought. He was such a throwback to old Empire. It was awesome. He was so irritated with General Hux. I loved Hux getting punked by Snoke after he lets the dreadnought get destroyed. Everything about that opening sequence was just Star Wars. I just loved it. I loved Leia. I loved Leia just being the leader, and you know what I'm saying, commanding Poe, telling Poe. At 1 minute she's reprimanding Poe for, you can't always just go in there and blow something up. You can't always just hop into an X-wing and blow something up. Bam, they're under attack. Permission to hop in X-wing and blow something up. Damn right. Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome. It was all that was awesome. I loved it. I was into this movie, and I'm going to get to the negatives. I'm not just letting you think that I'm all over the moon, because you know there's a huge negative that everybody's talking about. And it's the biggest negative in the movie, and it's such a, I'm not saying it's a huge plot point, but it takes up a lot of time, and it's so unnecessary. But anyway, we're still in the opening, so I'm loving all that. The whole scene with the bombers, with Rose's sister, I don't remember her name right now, forgive me, her kicking the thing, and then she almost misses the bombers drop, dreadnought, I love it, and then it's all for naught. Now here's one complaint, here's my first knock on the movie. I did find it kind of convenient plot device that basically the entire movie is just a slow police chase of the First Order chasing the Resistance in a single ship, like they're OJ and Al Callens, you know what I'm saying, driving slow with the whole please pull over, please surrender peacefully. I'm like, come on. That was kind of, I did find that kind of funny, but after a while I'm like, oh, they're really going to do this for the whole movie? Alright, so I just went with it. I was never really on board with it. It always seemed kind of, which ties into the storyline with Finn and Rose. I loved the introduction of Finn and Rose. I love how they meet. I thought that was great. The whole thing of Finn's character is funny to me because he always wants to dip. He's like Han Solo in that way. He's always trying to leave. Han Solo's trying to leave to get money. Finn's like, man, I'm not dying with you guys, dude. You guys are going to get killed. You know what I'm saying? Han was like that too, kind of. Han was like, man, you guys are going to die, and I'm not going to leave for that. So But then he ends up not going. He ends up going on another adventure. That's so Han Solo. That's so Han Solo. I love it. And the way he meets Rose, how she thinks he's leaving. And he was leaving. He's trying to cover up the bag. No. He's like, may the force be with you. He's like, thank you. Everything about it was awesome. Okay, so then that's that. When, oh, I skipped over the fact that when Finn wakes up, the first thing he says, he sees Poe, hug, love. Finn's like, where's Rey? And then we cut to Rey on the island, meeting up with Luke. She hands over the lightsaber. Luke just tosses it over her shoulder. Like, don't bring me that bullshit. I thought that was very, I loved that. That was dope. I loved that. All the stuff with Luke and Rey on the island was dope. Her interaction with the caretakers of the island, they hated her guts. They wanted her to leave. There's some great moments. Crazy Luke, and I love it because there's a great parallel that they make between Crazy Luke being on that island and Crazy Yoda when he was in Dagobah during his exile. And I love that parallel. And it's a clear parallel that they make, and I loved it. Oh, man. I got a mild headache, sorry. And it's causing me. But anyway, I'm going to make it through this. And I love that parallel between Crazy Luke and Crazy, because there's still moments that you get. That's still Luke Skywalker. It's still Luke Skywalker who, Jedi Master, who took down the Empire. And you see it, like, the way he's not helping Rey. The moment when he sees Chewie kicks in the door like the police. Chewie! I mean, that's vintage Luke. Same when he goes on the Falcon and he sees R2. R2! It's awesome. That's awesome. I was loving all of that. I mean, that's vintage Star Wars, and I loved it. So there was moments where you get great Luke. And then there's moments where you get crazy Luke when he's talking to Rey. He's like, where are you from? No one's from nowhere. She says, I'm from Jakku. Okay, that's basically nowhere. Oh, I love it. That's awesome. So yeah, all the stuff with Rey on the and Luke was dope. His refusal to teach her, and then him finally teaching her to show her why. Because I love his theory, and it's true. The Jedi were, and which is a great thing that gets glossed over in the prequels. People hate on the prequels, but the world building and the lore that the prequels built cannot be mistaken and cannot be understated. Cannot be understated. They did such a good job with that. I really, really liked how he brought up the hubris of the Jedi, and they were unable to, and how he speaks, the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi. I loved all that. That was awesome. Yeah, and then the whole story between what my man Christian called Force Skype between Rey and Kylo. Kylo's character development in this was also awesome. His hesitancy to kill Leia, but then she almost dies anyway in the which I didn't even speak on Leia. I wasn't really into that. I mean, I buy it because of her her ability to. They've already established she's super Force sensitive in previous films. So when she flies out into space and she uses the Force to float back in, it looked cheesy as hell to me. I chuckled in the theater. But I bought it because I get it. That's on par with the character development, so I'm not mad at that. Even though I didn't like the execution, I'm not mad at the story development. And I was shocked because I thought for sure that they were that was the perfect way to kill her off, but they didn't. Which is another thing. She's alive at the end of this movie, so we'll deal with that. But Kylo's whole thing, his first meeting with Snoke, when Snoke just reprimands him. That dichotomy between Kylo and Hux is still there. I like that. People don't like Hux as a character. I like him because I think he's necessary. It's the great scene at the end when he's about to kill Kylo and when Kylo wakes up and he puts the gun. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah, man. There's a lot to like in this movie. All right, I don't want to get. I could go forever, so I don't want to do that. I'm already 12, 13 minutes in, and I'm not even halfway. So let's get to some of the stuff. Let's get to what I don't like, and that's Finn and Rose. Everything that they do, it's just so unnecessary, and that entire storyline could be gone, and it takes up a good 30 minutes of the movie. And it's just like, I mean, I love Finn as a character, and I like Rose as a character, and their chemistry's okay. I don't mind it. I buy it. She's really awestruck that he's a rebel, a resistance hero. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. And but the whole sideline of them, the casino planet they were on, I don't remember what it's called now, Canto Bight. I didn't like none of that. I didn't. That was that movie. The movie really dragged at that point. And that's what I was like, man. I didn't think I was gonna like the movie at that point. There was a moment during that part where I was like, I don't know if this movie's gonna. But you know what? I had the same thing. I'm not gonna make that comparison. There's moments in every. There were moments in the prequels where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get it. And then it picks up in the second half, especially in Attack of the Clones. I'm not comparing this at all to Attack of the Clones. This is way better than Attack of the Clones, even though I like Attack of the Clones. I'm not a prequel hater. But all of that stuff I wasn't into it. I just wasn't into it. Once they leave Canto Bight and they get in the stuff with Phasma and all that, even though it's pointless, at least I like that. But the stuff with Canto Bight, I hate it. Once they leave Canto Bight, I enjoy the stuff with Captain Phasma when they're trying to infiltrate, even though it's pointless. And then the stuff when they get back to Crate, that's all good, all that. So the stuff with Canto Bight with with Finn and Rose, I didn't like. But once they left that planet, and I get it, the whole thing, because it pays off at the end with the Force sensitive kid, Broom Kid, as Harloff called him. I get it, and it pays off, but it wasn't worth it. That's not a big enough payoff for all the boringness that you made me sit through. So I'm done with that. Everything else that I'm speaking of is pretty much positive from this point out. So let's talk about Poe and Admiral Holdo. Their relationship. So after Poe gets everybody killed in that bomber's run and gets demoted, and then Leia gets put into a coma, Admiral Holdo takes over, and she does not. Her and Poe instantly bump heads. She doesn't tell Poe the plan. Poe doesn't think they have a plan. So that starts the friction. So that leads to Poe helping out Finn and Rose on their side mission, which is cool. Which is what Poe's going to do, and I get that. That's fine. I actually like all that. I love because the thing that I like, even though Holdo is she's being hard on Poe, because she saw what Leia saw in Poe, which is leadership. And even up to the point when Poe does the mutiny and takes control, even though she's pissed and she doesn't even after he gets stunned by Leia and she's like, I like that kid. He's got spunk, man. We need more like him. So even after all that, she's not even mad at him. He's like, hey, so I love that dynamic. People were like, oh, she really does. Like, no, she didn't hate Poe. She was just doing what was best because she had the plan. She had the plan. So I like that. I love that. And Laura Dern as she was great. And we'll speak about, let's just talk about it now. Her death was one of the most epic moments in any Star Wars film, period. It's up there with the destruction of the Death Star. It's up there with it's awesome when she shoots that ship in hyperspace and cuts through the First Order fleet. Mind you, like I said, I'm in the RPX theater with great sound, great visuals, packed theater, and I tell you, that place went dead silent. It was boom. It cut through the visuals, and it was just, and I was like, damn. I was the only vocal voice in that theater because I couldn't hold it. I was like, damn, because I saw it coming. Because they did something similar to that in Rebels, with Hera, with Hera and the Ghost. They did something similar to that, where she took down a Star Destroyer doing something like that. So yeah, I saw it coming, and I was like, "Whoa!" But to see it pulled off on live action like that was awesome. And how they cut the sound out in the theater, and it was almost black and white, and that was epic. So that might have been my favorite scene in the movie. Two other scenes are we'll talk about those in a second. Let's talk about real quick the story. Like I said, I'm all over the place. Let's talk real quick about the story of Kylo And Luke, as the Jedi Temple, what caused Kylo to destroy the Jedi Temple and all that, is we get 3 versions of the story. Luke senses that Kylo has darkness in him. He goes to confront him about it. Kylo fights him and destroys the temple, yada, yada, yada. The second version is, no, Luke tried to kill me, bro. I'm sleeping and I wake up, Luke's standing over me with a saber about to murk me, son. So I grab my saber and I defend myself. The real version was somewhere in between. Luke does go in there to question him, realizes he has the dark thoughts, pulls out the saber, and for a split second he thinks about killing him, and then he doesn't, but then Kylo wakes up and he sees him standing over him with a saber, and he's like, so Kylo's version was more truthful than Luke's, I think. Especially from Kylo's perspective. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. And then the whole thing of Snoke planting... Oh, let's get to this. Snoke's dead. Murdered up by Kylo. Snoke is the one who planted the seed to make the connection between Kylo and Rey when Rey's doing her Jedi training. Her and Kylo keep having these Skype calls and they keep talking to each other. And it's crazy because Kylo's like, I can't see your surroundings. I see you. Can you see my surroundings? It was very interesting. At first, I didn't know it was going to work, but then it works. And especially it plays out when she goes to Luke and she's like, I can turn Kylo. I've seen his future. There's good in him. And you're like, Luke's like, you're fucked up. It's not worth. You're wrong. You're wrong. And sure enough, which comes to my second favorite scene of the movie, the throne room scene with Snoke, Kylo, and Rey. So reminiscent to Return of the Jedi. Rey surrendered to, which by the way, quick scene. I love the shot. I love the scene of Rey in the little pod. She's in the pod. The Millennium Falcon jumps out of hyperspace just long enough to shoot her down, and then boom, it's off again. I love that. I was like, that's stealth right there. The Millennium Falcon is the best ship ever. Okay, so then I love the scene when he goes down there in the throne room. She's like, I can turn you. And then the whole scene of confrontation between Snoke, Rey, and Kylo, and you see it coming. You was like, oh. And then when Kylo turns that saber, boom, kills Snoke. And I'm like, oh, the death was dope. I was like, oh, he killed him. And then when he pulls the saber, it cuts Snoke in half. I was like, that's dope. But then they turn it to 10 when the Praetorian guards are like, motherfucker, you killed the boss? And they get back to back, boom, sabers lit, and they go to work. I was like, yes, yes, yes to all of that. It was so awesome. That was a dope scene. You know what I'm saying? To Rey dropping the saber, picking it up, throwing it to Kylo. I mean, that was violent. Saber through the face, and they showed the hole. I was like, man, I liked it. I liked all of it. It was great. That was a great scene. Great scene. So, yeah. So then that's dope. Let me see what else we got to talk about. So then let's talk about the actual Battle of Crate. The rebels get down to Crate. Yeah, they're all getting murdered. At this point, there's like, what I love is the rebels. The resistance gets destroyed. At this point, they're calling themselves rebels. At the end of the movie, there's like 10 of them left. They truly are the spark to light, because they don't have no ship. All that's left is them and the Falcon. It's 10 of them left in the Falcon. But, yeah, man, it's dope. So they get down there. They have the whole Battle of Crate. Let's get to what we're talking about. Oh, real quick, I can't talk about it. I almost forgot. After Rey leaves, we get the Yoda scene. Which was so awesome. It was so awesome. It was Puppet Yoda talking to Luke. The great joke about the Jedi, but yeah, page turners they are not. Great joke. What else am I forgetting? Him using the Force to destroy the tree, knowing that Rey had taken the books. A lot of people didn't get that. Rey took the books. The Jedi books didn't get destroyed when the tree burned. Rey took them. So that's awesome. I love that. Him hitting Luke on the head was so Yoda. It was great just to see them. It was so nostalgic. The theater applauded on that when they saw Yoda. So then Luke. Let's get to the main event down at Crate. Luke versus Kylo. I love the two things that I love at this point. when Kylo turns, okay, and he confronts Rey, and Rey's like, please don't do this. He's like, fuck this. This was my plan all along. I am now Supreme Leader. Supreme Leader Ren. And I love it how Kylo, how Hux tried to challenge him. Kylo was like, motherfucker, you forget who I am? And then when they're in the control room, and Hux challenges it again, Kylo throws him against the wall, like, motherfucking shut the fuck up. Other dude was like, let's do it. I got it. No, we good. And so, all of that was great. And so then Kylo versus Luke. When Luke comes out, and Kylo's like, kill him! Okay, because with the red salt that comes up, with the red dust that comes up, and the first shot that they shot at Luke, I was like, oh, they blew him up! That was violent, that blood. And my man Mark Ellis over at Schmoes thought the same thing, and I was like, yes, I thought this, because he said it, I was like, for real. I was like, damn, they just blew up Luke? But then the laser was awesome. Visually, it was awesome. Everything on Crate with the whoever thought of that, to have the salt with the red, was just, all of that was visually awesome. But then the showdown with Kylo and Luke was awesome. A lot of people were like, oh, I wanted a great light. No, we didn't need it. It was awesome enough, especially when you get the reveal that Luke's not even there. And I've only seen it once, so I got to go back because everybody's saying you know it. I haven't noticed the feet yet. The feet of Luke. I didn't catch that on the first one. I got to go back to see it again. But when you cut to him floating on the rock, I was like, yes. So I was like, I don't understand if you're a Star Wars fan how you don't like it, but it's whatever. If you don't like it, that's you. You're a pussy. Because that shit was dope. All of that was dope. Alright, let's wrap it up. All of the pork stuff I thought was funny. A lot of the humor landed with me. I know I'm forgetting, but I've gone long. I'm already at like 30 minutes on this joint. So, shut up, stupid cat. That was a cat. So yeah, overall, man, I guess I should give this movie a ranking. Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie pretty high, man. I don't remember what I gave The Force Awakens. I don't think I was doing videos then. But I'm gonna give Star Wars The Last Jedi a 8.5, man. I can't give it a 9 because of the stuff with Canto Bright, man. That really dragged the movie down. But after that, that movie was all go, no quit towards the end. The finish, I mean, it's long, and I was like, how are they going to wrap this up? Are they really going to do? I actually thought, for a minute, I thought the Battle of Crate wasn't going to happen. I thought it was going to cut, like, right before the battle actually started. But no, they went through it. It was dope. It was dope. The whole thing about Finn almost sacrificing himself, I loved it. That was dope. I didn't really buy the kiss at the end, or whatever. It was and then the last scene of the broom kid using the Force, showing the resistance growing with the resistance ring, I dug it. I dug all of that, man. I dug all of that. So, yeah, man, I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10 for Star Wars The Last Jedi. Definitely go check this out. Leave your comments below discussing the movie. What was your favorite scenes? So my 3 favorite scenes: the throne room, Holdo sacrifice, and Luke on Crate. Everything with Luke Skywalker on Crate. So that, I know that's like a long scene, but those are my 3 favorite scenes. So, yeah. Alright, man. You know how we do. Go check out The Last Jedi. Until next time, this is a wrap for this one. Peace. 100, y'all.
Yeah. Mr. Fine. Sweatbox. Let's go. We celebrating on this one, baby.